Hello everyone, Rivka here with the Havas Khanam. Before we begin, just want to ask you to like this channel, subscribe to the channel, click the bell, and you'll get notified whenever we post a new video. We are trying really hard with Pesach coming up and everything to post a video daily. In this series, as you can probably tell from my background, I'm going to be talking about Tomar Devorah. Some of this will be free and some of it at some point will go behind a paywall because we do a great amount of study that goes in these studies and effort, and we're a nonprofit and we need people's support. And so if you want the entire series that I'll be doing on Tuesdays, that will be going behind a paywall. I'll probably be doing some other free things, but this one obviously is free because you're viewing it. So I'm not sure how many I'll do free and how many or when I'll put it on a paywall. I'll probably do like 2 or 3 of these free, and then I will put the rest behind a paywall on our website, but that will be announced as we go on. First, let me show you the book. Got this fancy cam over here. So this is the new camera we got so we could show you guys books rather than us just staring down at a book and so forth. So this is the Rabbi Moshe Cardovo, the Ramak, who is the teacher of the Arizal, the Palm Tree of Devorah. This is a Musar work. It's probably one of his most well-known and most easy to understand works. So I'll just open it up here. So this is just really a introduction. So it talks about the author and so forth. This basically goes through the 13 Meadows of Hashem in Micah, and I'll go ahead and go over to the book again to show you what verse we will be studying. So that's the just went to the introduction. So here is the verses that it's talking about. Who is God like you, who pardons iniquity and forgives the transgression of the remnant of his heritage? He does not maintain his anger forever. For his delight is he delights in kindness. He will again show us compassion. He will vanquish our iniquities, and you will cast all their sins into the depths of the sea. Show faithfulness to Yaakov, kindness to Abraham, which you have sworn to our fathers from the days of old. Micah 7:18 through 20. So those are what this goes over. You'll also know the Meadows of Hashem from the Torah itself, which reflects in this book as well. And so the Ramak was the teacher of the Arizal and is very revered, and he's actually buried by the Arizal. The Arizal died at 33, I believe, and Ramak, I think, died much later in life, and they were in the city of Tzfat. So I'll give you a little bit of information on the Ramak for you before we dive in next week to Tomar Devorah. So just to give you an idea of what to, the Ramak has many Kabbalistic works that he wrote, many which are difficult to understand, and this is one of the few that is a bit easier to digest. There's going to be terminology that a lot of people who are not familiar with Kabbalistic works won't be familiar with, so this might be too deep of a dive for some. But it is a basically ethical Musar type work, basically how we are to reflect the 13 Meadows of Hashem. And the title comes from the verse, the righteous will flourish like the date palm, in Tehillim 92:13. So that's where the title comes from, and that we're supposed to be sustained by Hashem, and we are to reflect Him. And also our Rebbe talks about this when he says that you are to be perfect just as our Father, i.e. Hashem, is perfect, and we're supposed to reflect that. And so by learning these midos, we're able to reflect Hashem. I also thought it would be helpful, too, to go over the Sephiroth a little bit. This is Kabbalistic, and the reason I'm going over it just very briefly, because it does go over it in the book, that it's helpful to kind of understand how Hashem is understood in a spiritual Kabbalistic sense. So let me show you this book a little bit. And I would definitely encourage you guys to buy this book. So the Ketzer, the crown, is the highest and most expensive sephira. It is so sublime that it's called the most hidden of all hidden things. So basically, knowing Hashem in the most deepest sense. No one can know the Ketzer really, um, um, and so forth. I'm not going to read this word for word because I would encourage you to get it. But the Chokmah, wisdom, represents God's first creative activity. Bina understands the understanding entails deriving one matter from another. Chesed, which a lot of people are familiar with, is kindness, manifests and actualizes God's absolute, ultimate benevolence and kindness. Devorah, the opposite, the power of restraint, is often referred to as din, law, and judgment, for it demands that chesed be distributed justly, i.e., in proportion to the recipient's merit. Tiferet, truth or beauty, down here, harmonizing and synthesize the boundless outpouring of chesed with the severe restraints of Devorah. So it's like a balancing thing. So Netzach is victory, endurance, or and let's see. And Hod, majesty or splendor, are usually paired. Zohar refers to them as two halves of one body, like twins. Yesod, foundation, unites emanator and recipient, or in the language of Kabbalah, Yesod unites Malchut with the other Sephiroth. Malchut, kingship, royalty, or sovereignty, is the last of the 10 Sephiroth, is uniquely positive, having nothing but that which other Sephiroth pour into it. That's a little bit harder to understand, but basically it's a kingship of God. And so those are the 10 Sephiroth. Again, I would definitely encourage you to get this because it goes into much more detail. The soul is an indivisible essence concealed with the Ein Sof, the Infinite One. It emanates from above via the 10 Sephiroth, 10 powers of the soul derived from these Sephiroth. Similarly, the 3 levels of the soul, Nefesh, Ruach, and Neshama, each derive their character. Going on here, the soul is enclosed within the body via the 4th level, the tselem, or image. The tselem of man is the human mold of his physical form, which links his body and soul. The mold derives from the configuration of Sephiroth via which man's soul descends. The soul reflects the Atzmut, or the infinite light, which illuminates the 6 Sephiroth. This is very high level stuff, so if you don't understand, it's understandable why you wouldn't. But this takes a lot of study to understand these things. Excuse me, my kid here, but we're about to finish up. This is just a simple introduction. I definitely plan to, I before next week, if you could go into studying about the, I won't be actually doing it on Tuesday next week unless I can film ahead of time because of Pesach. But study about the Ramak and the Sephiroth would be helpful. So please get this book, and I will definitely continue another time when my children aren't so interruptive. So I hope that you enjoyed this series that I plan to do in the upcoming weeks, and we'll start with the beginning chapter 1 next week or after Pesach.